A meal in a pill, or a bar, or a shake, something from science fiction, or the food of the future. What if we never ate again? Look, I get it. Eating takes up valuable time, especially when you actually prepare meals instead of instant noodles.
Tell them I'm eating.
And not all of us can subsist on high-grade caffeine alone. That might be why the idea of a meal in a bottle or a pill is nothing new. But now that you can find meal replacements in just about every store, a question is raised. A question that I have to thank one wonderful viewer for asking. Take it away, Potts.
It's Howard. Kyra asked, "First of all, Brew, I love you.
Aw, thanks. Makes us so happy when people like the show.
Second of all, can people live completely only drinking protein shakes? I'm getting tired of having to go outside or depending on deliveries."
Preaching to the choir. I avoid the burning light of the sun as much as physically possible. So, can you get everything you need to survive from meal replacements and protein shakes alone? And what would happen if you tried? But first, we're looking at a topic today that has to do with nutrition. Like any diet, it could be controversial. I'm not telling you what to eat or how to structure your diet. If you're eating something or drinking something with a label on it, chances are that there's a lot more information on the back or on a website. And if you're still not sure, never hurts to talk to a doctor or a dietitian. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Before we dig into the big question, there is a distinction that we need to draw, specifically between protein shakes and meal replacements. Protein shakes aren't designed to replace any part of your diet. Instead, they're designed to supplement your diet by adding more protein to facilitate intense workouts, and are typically lacking in vitamins other than calcium more than their meal replacement cousins. Plus, since they're not meant to replace meals, protein shakes have far fewer calories and a lower fat content. Meal replacement drinks, on the other hand, are intended to substitute regular meals. They're meant to be more filling than protein shakes, and tend to have more calories, more fat, more vitamins, and less protein. Not to say they're lacking in protein altogether, they just have less since they're not intended to be gulped down before lifting a few hundred pounds. Also known as something I don't do. We're going to lean further towards meal replacement drinks for today's topic, since they actually contain the nutrients you need from a meal. Plus, between the two, meal replacement shakes have a calorie count closer to what you need in a day without having to eat anything else. And like so many modern technologies, we can find a link between today's topic and science fiction of yesteryear. Yay, science fiction? Let's travel back to the year 1893, specifically the 1893 World's Fair in Chicago. The American Press Association asked writers from different fields to imagine what the far-off year of 1993 would be like, then published their works in small-town newspapers. American suffragette Mary Elizabeth Lease submitted her vision of a future where food would come in the form of a small vial and would furnish men with substance for days, and thus the problems of cooks and cooking will be solved. But this vision was presented a full 6 years earlier in a novella called Republic of the Future, or Socialism, a Reality, by Anna Bauman Dodd. Of course, Dodd's take was more tongue-in-cheek, using the concept to mock socialism, feminism, and automation. Parody or not, the idea of healthy meal alternatives that took time out of eating spread wide and far. The classic pill form has appeared in everything from 1930s science fiction to Naruto, and instant hydration meals can be found in films like The Fifth Element and Back to the Future. So, what's the deal? It's 2019. Why can't I get a full day's food out of a single pill by now? And where's my hoverboard? Well, it's currently impossible. According to popular mechanics, no matter how many nutrients we shove into pills, we just can't fit in enough calories to keep someone running all day long. Imagine, if you will, that a person is a coal train. Calories would be the coal we shovel into the engine to keep it running. According to the US Department of Health, starting at age 13, a minimum of about 2,000 calories a day is needed to keep someone going. Now, unless the pills you're taking are made of lard, you won't get even close to that amount. And even if they are, that would add up to about a half a pound of lard per day, which is a hard pill to swallow. Assuming that you'd be taking 1,000 milligram pills, each of these would equate to about 0.0022 pounds each. So unless you're sucking down somewhere in the range of 230 pills per day, you're just never gonna reach that goal. What about something with a bit more heft to it, like drinks? That could be a lot simpler and without the need for fistfuls of pills. So it's no surprise that someone eventually took that idea and ran with it. Trademark Edison Corporation. One of the first was known as Shape, a shake by Metrocell based off of baby food formula. In the 60s, the space race craze brought attention to another meal replacement, astronaut food. Well, of a kind. Astronaut meals needed to be lightweight and compact, which meant powdered drinks and dehydrated foods that could be restored using water from the life support system. Tang was one such powdered drink, and sales soared after it was advertised as the drink of astronauts, even if it was just artificial flavors and sugar. Pillsbury released space food sticks. The 70s brought Nutriloaf, a product now mostly found in prisons and described as,
"Oh, that's horrible,"
and like
chewing on cock,
by the Post star's John Alexander. Since then, the meal replacement fad has shifted back to liquid form, and those balanced chemical concoctions have grown much more regulated in markets like the European Union and Canada, where laws have been made to specify what can go into anything marketed as a meal replacement.
Speaking of regulations, do you like playing by the rules? Do you enjoy being a lethargic loafing lord? Do you want a beverage that is certified safe for human consumption? Well then, don't try Yeet. Wait, goddammit, don't. Come on, pull yourself together. Oh, God. You can do this. You're the man. Come on. Try Yeet. Pull yourself together. Try Yeet. Pure, potent, powerful.
If all of this is sounding somewhat familiar, you might be thinking of another diet in a bottle, juice. You've probably heard of some kind of juice cleanse or diet. You may even know someone who's tried it. Treating juice as some kind of cure-all isn't anything new. There are records of everything from 16th century men using onion juice as a cure for baldness to the ancient Greeks and later Britons using garlic as an aphrodisiac. Today, juice diets and cleanses are usually marketed as a way to lose weight, detox the liver, and cleanse the body. These programs usually last between about 3 to 10 days, with juice filling in for every meal during this period, also known as starving yourself for a limited period of time.
I'm not okay. I'm literally so hungry.
Though juice diets that include solid food can run for longer. But do they work? And could you live off of them? It might surprise you, but I've done the research and no, that's not how this works. First off, that's not how toxins work. Despite how we may feel some mornings, our bodies aren't old sewer systems, and while we do naturally create harmful byproducts, those are handled by our liver and kidneys, then expelled by our body's built-in waste disposal system. Other bad things, like carbon dioxide, are handled via the lungs and expelled when you exhale. This natural detox program runs 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Drinking juice isn't going to make that run any more smoothly. Besides, juice usually doesn't have all the calories needed to keep you functioning, or the nutrients your body needs. These deficiencies can lead to mood changes, tiredness, and cause you to lose focus.
Juice cleanse. I am dying.
And while it can cause weight loss, you might not be able to keep those pounds off once you switch back to solid food. Finally, it can sometimes cause gastrointestinal distress. That said, in the short term, juice cleanses aren't harmful, assuming that you're an averagely healthy person and you're not doing anything extreme. But whatever the case, enough people swear by juice cleanses that they're here to stay, gaining attention in Silicon Valley and getting venture capitalists to invest in home juicers like the Juicero. What is the Juicero, I hear you ask? Well, I can't speak for the quality of the drink, but this one-stop shop for all your juicing needs was basically none of those things. Priced at $700 at launch and requiring not only proprietary juice bags, not fruit and vegetables that you could just juice, but also a constant internet connection.
And we haven't even gotten to the most genius part yet.
You could squeeze the juice out with your bare hands. So the only reason you needed the machine itself was because they wouldn't let you buy the juice bags without one.
And I thought my life was devoid of purpose.
Aw, come on, buddy. Search deep in that data bank. I'm sure there's something there.
File not found.
The Juicero was more or less, well, doomed to failure. And fail it did. Launched in 2016, Juicero closed its doors a mere 16 months later. But the Juicero isn't the only juice-related product that had issues. Mona V, a now defunct multi-level marketing company focused on juice, was also no stranger to controversy. Besides accusations of being a pyramid scheme, or as Forbes writer Emily Lambert and Klaus Neal put it, a pyramid scheme, Mona V was also accused of falsely marketing its juice as having healing qualities. An article in Newsweek quoted fans as claiming that Mona V's juice could cure pain disease and malnutrition, and further quoted Mona V distributor Diane Nafziger as claiming that a diabetic Mona V user broke his need for insulin shots.
Okay.
The company would later be issued a letter from the FDA over Mona V's claims that its juices could stop inflammation. Or in their words, the therapeutic claims on your website establish that the products are drugs because they are intended for use in the cure, mitigation, treatment, or prevention of disease. The marketing of these products with these claims violates the act.
And I believe that we've used solid principles in the forming of the foundation for Monavi that will take us many, many years into the future.
You go do the work, and then one day you wake up and Monavi is delivering a new black Mercedes to your door. Dream a big dream. Don't dream a small dream. The worst thing that could happen is a small dream would come true.
Mona V would eventually foreclose in 2015 after defaulting on a $182 million loan. But on that earlier topic of money and venture investments, that brings us back to our big question. Can you live exclusively off bottled meals? Well, that's the question that engineer, biohacker, entrepreneur, and occasional mad scientist Rob Reinhart sought to remove the distraction of cooking from his life. In his own words, "In my own life, I resented the time, money, and effort the purchase, preparation, consumption, and cleanup of food was consuming." Reinhart said in a blog post, "I don't want to lose weight. I want to maintain it and spend less energy getting energy." His solution? To research the nutrients needed by a human body and try to mix them into a drink that would keep himself operational. A drink that would eventually be known as Soylent. A drink that Reinhart would subsist on almost exclusively, only eating food when he craved flavors or when eating out with friends, and never cooking it himself. Now I know what you're thinking.
Silent breed is people!
Did it work? Well, yeah. Actually, I'll admit I'm a bit surprised, but he's still going. But he's not the only one that's gone on an all-liquid diet. Motherboard reporter and video creator Brian Merchant went on an all-Soylent-based diet for 30 days and managed to survive. The Verge's deputy editor, Chris Ziegler, went almost a month solely on the meal drink, and many others have lived off Soylent for week-long stretches. But how filling is it? Well, given that it's a shake, surprisingly filling. According to YouTuber Tread Talks, a single bottle of Soylent Original kept him feeling full for about 2.5 hours. And in terms of nutritional value, he found himself needing to drink 5 drinks in order to meet his 2,000 calories a day target. And that's just going off an all-Soylent diet, something that is possible, but not expected by the creators, because in addition to lacking flavor, there's also a social aspect. Those who went on meal-in-a-bottle diets described feeling left out of spending time with their friends at lunch or over food. But on the flip side, it did provide them with much more time, and I have no friends, so hey, this is just sounding like a win-win for me.
Bro, you heartless hermit. It's okay, chill. He didn't mean it.
Oh, right. I'm still not used to this. Plus, there's even coffee ones. Of course, that's just one meal replacement drink, and one that doesn't pass the test worldwide at that. For all the praise it's gotten in some communities, you'll only be able to find Soylent in the United States at the moment. While it is classified as a diet supplement by the FDA, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency labeled it as a meal replacement and banned it from the country after finding that it contained ingredients that are prohibited from use in meal replacements, like caffeine and sucralose. The CFIA also found that Soylent did not meet nutritional regulations, with 13 vitamins or minerals below minimum requirements. What about other meal replacement drinks? Well, there's Huel, a British shake that's supposed to act as a full meal on its own, though its creators don't advise living solely off of it and encourage ramping up intake to grow accustomed to it. Vice's Hayden Vernon went on a Huel diet for a week and made it out, though the dietitians he spoke to at the time advised against it, like award-winning nutritionist Danielle O'Shaughnessy, who warned that the vitamins and minerals in drinks like Huel or Soylent are often synthetic, inactive varieties, and that the drinks don't factor in people who need more than the daily minimum nutritional values. The Daily Mail's Nick Harding went on a week-long diet of only various meal replacements, which was once again advised against by a dietitian. Harding took a blood test before and after his experience and found both his phosphate and cholesterol levels reduced over the week. Harding also noted feeling low energy over the week and that he had experienced shaking episodes. Zach Watson, a writer for fitness and health publication Greatest, tried yet another meal replacement called Ample for a week. How did these all go? Well, everyone made it out, though several people reported some of that aforementioned gastrointestinal distress, ranging from gas to, well, rushing to the bathroom, we'll say.
Do you smell it? That smell. The kind of smelly smell. A smelly smell that smells smelly.
But there is potential here. The United Kingdom's National Health Service has been looking at the potential for a liquid diet for weight loss purposes, though there is concern that this could result in what is known as a yo-yo dieting or weight cycling, a process where people lose weight on a temporary diet but can't maintain the weight loss, resulting in rapidly losing and gaining weight. So, can you live purely off shakes and never eat again? Well, going off what we've found, at least in the short term, yes, but dietitians are concerned about the long-term viability of such a diet. To quote Domingo Pinheiro, a professor of nutrition and food studies at New York University, the short answer is no. It can't be sustainable long term. We know we can keep individuals on elemental diets as long as all the essential nutrients are supplied, which is very hard, but there are problems in the long run. And there is one last kind of important thing to mention here. Dietary supplements are largely unregulated by the FDA, which means that you may not even know what you're getting, or the conditions that it was made under. What does that mean? Well, in my humble opinion, I'd recommend before starting off on any meal replacement diet, do your due diligence. Take a look at the reviews, do some research on if it works or is healthy for you. See if there have been recalls or outbreaks around a certain product, like Soylent had in 2016 and 2017. And if you're still concerned, talk to a doctor. But hey, who am I to give dietary advice?